Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and as large protests continue to sweep across America against Trump's authoritarianism, Trump and American farmers seem to be pleading with one another to make the pain stop. Farmers are begging Trump to make the financial pain stop as his tariffs are killing many of their businesses, and Trump is begging farmers to just shut up about it because he doesn't want the bad press. What must Trump voting farmers be thinking right now? But first, for daily news and commentary, please hit the subscribe button to stay notified. So, American farmers being hit quite badly by Trump's tariffs. And you think, well, hang on a minute, hold on. Aren't tariffs a protectionist measure? Don't tariffs actually give domestic businesses a competitive advantage? Well, that is the idea of them, yes. And if applied sensibly, that is what they often do, albeit at a bit of a cost to a country's overall economy if you're not careful. But sometimes a government decides that one or two vulnerable sectors need some extra protection, and tariffs can be a tool that is sometimes used. However, a couple of problems with this. First of all, it only sort of works if these sectors are in a vulnerable state. But American industry, including farming, before Trump was actually in a very robust state. Also, Trump is not using the tariffs as a tool. He's using them as a sledgehammer to smash the entire global economy, something Russia and China will be loving because it is America who were the big winners under the established system. China will love a crack at changing that system to favour them. So how exactly are American farmers suffering from Trump's tariffs if they are protectionist in nature? Well, in a few ways. I alluded to one form in a separate video last week as part of China's retaliation against Trump's trade war with them. They have failed to renew licenses of hundreds of American abattoirs, with the consequence that China is no longer importing any beef from America. According to news reports from Australia, this was worth $2.5 billion to the American farming industry. Now, that is Australian dollars. I believe it's something like 1.6 billion American dollars. Still, a lot of money, which American farmers won't be enjoying losing. But China is not going without its beef. It's now just buying it from Australia, hence the reference to Australian news. So not for the first time, Australians are having a laugh at one of their English-speaking cousin nations doing something incredibly dumb with trade policy, which is benefiting those down under. As a result of Trump's trade war, Australia wins big. China gets to squeeze US exports without having to give up its beef, and American farmers pay the price. And those beef farmers affected who voted for Trump, not all of them will have done, but the ones who did, do not get to complain because do you know what? He promised to do this before the election. Those farmers voted for this. And it's not just beef either. It's been reported that 48% of America's soybean exports are to China. The article suggested there are 500,000 soybean farmers in America feeling the pain now. Last year, China was the third largest export market for US agricultural produce. $25 billion worth of exports at risk with the trade war with China alone. And it's worth noting, Canada was the second largest export market with $28 billion worth. And that trade war is just on pause for now. And these are just the exports threatened directly by trade wars. As a result of America becoming an unreliable trade partner around the whole world, even countries that aren't currently escalating may change suppliers. Because remember that most trade is arranged between sellers and buyers, not governments. So if an importer from Europe or Mexico decides that America is too unstable a place to do business, they may look to find suppliers elsewhere, like Africa or South America, for example, to get ahead of the curve in America's bid for global isolation. Then there's imports. So farmers need to import things. They need to import equipment, seeds and so on. Unless they've been exempted, without my knowledge, these are all facing tariffs now of at least 10%, potentially more. And not just potentially more, unpredictably potentially more. Because at any moment, Trump could raise or lower tariffs on imports or switch around which products get exemptions or harsher treatment. You can't operate a business in an environment like that. And it makes American farmers less secure. So that will mean it makes them a less reliable customer for other markets, for their export markets, even around the world where we're not taking action. So customers around the whole globe, if they start missing shipments from their American suppliers or fear that they're threatened, they may have to source products from elsewhere. We saw this in Britain after Brexit. a slow strangulation of some businesses because they could no longer reliably supply their customers in Europe. Only this may not be a slow strangulation. This tariff policy is very blunt and massive in scope. It could finish off some farms within a season. But not to worry. I hear the Vice President, JD Vance, has business interests in a company who specialises in buying, foreclosing American farms and selling them to foreigners. So Trump voting American farmers may lose out, but don't worry, some wealthy foreigners will do very nicely out of it. Land is valuable, you see, at least to those who aren't stupid enough to try to farm it and then vote for a government who actually promises to crush farming. But also, just as in Brexit Britain, industries hit hard will see smaller businesses going under. The larger corporations will then expand into their space. That is because a bigger business can more easily deal with trade barriers. They can absorb it to an extent. It's going to hit their profit, sure. But if in the long term it allows them to expand, to take up the business of the smaller businesses, then it works in their favour long term. They certainly don't close down. But smaller businesses go under, which means the industry shifts more towards the mega corporations. And the total number of individual incomes provided by the industry diminishes, as well as the fact you risk monopolies. Fewer people will be able to make a living from the industry. That means more pressure on other sectors, leading to an employer's market where if you've got a glut of people needing a job, businesses can then offer lower pay, poorer benefits. That drives the standard of living for ordinary Americans across the whole economy downwards. A sort of economic self-replicating doom loop of the sort Thatcher inflicted on large parts of Britain in the 80s. But none of this is really surprising. Populists are the same all over the world, aren't they? And throughout history. It's quite common for the people they appeal to suffer more than most. The art of populism is the art of persuading people to vote to repeatedly punch themselves in the face. What caught me off guard was not so much American farmers, including Trump voting American farmers, pleading with the president to arrange deals sooner rather than later and drop the tariffs, which, by the way, he won't be doing, so get used to the tariffs. But no, what got me was when I read that Trump was pleading with the farmers. Listen to what he was reported as saying. He said this on Truth Social. Our farmers are great, but because of their greatness, they are always put on the front line with our adversaries, such as China, whenever there is a trade negotiation or trade war. Note what he's saying. He's acknowledging that he has put American farmers on the front line. Because after all, who initiated the trade war? Who started it? Trump did. So he's openly admitting that he is making American farmers feel this pain. Now, maybe in his head, that statement of his is trying to make out it's China's fault, but that's not what he's saying. He then reminded people that he did the same thing in his first term. It's a shame people didn't remember that when they voted last autumn. There was an implication that he will bail the farmers out, but let's say he does. Where will the money come from? The American taxpayer. So even if farmers are compensated, which I doubt, but let's say, it'll be robbing Peter to pay Paul. None of this is going to cost foreign countries, whether allies or adversaries, or, should I say former allies, because Trump has dropped the former alliances into the bin. And Trump is having the nerve to ask farmers to put up with the pain for the sake of a moronic misunderstanding of how trade works, which he just can't let go. But there we are. Those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. If you've enjoyed the video, please click the like button and subscribe for further content. If you'd like to support the channel further, you can click the join button for memberships. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later.